So I would say that the solos in Hangar 18 are pretty much the hardest stuff that Marty's played. Well, some of the hardest solos that he's set down on record. Well, you'll see for yourself. So the first one's this. By the way, this is how I play the solos. It's not necessarily how Marty plays it. It's not, because I could hear the difference in the way I play it and the way he plays it. And it's not just because he's cleaner or he's or because of his because his technical ability is better. It's just he plays it somewhat different. But anyway, I'll still show you how I play it at least. So the first solo starts off with or you could also play anyway, and then you do an F major arpeggio shape. So when you play this last part, you could play it with starting from the F sharp. So it's like you're playing a major note, but you're just bending with from there, and then I think this is the most it's the most well, I guess it would be the definitive solo of Hangar 18. This part where he goes on there. So it's a D minor shape. And then the second part, he, instead of starting with an A, plays with a B flat, but still pretty much the same notes going down. Sorry. And then this is where it gets tricky. I think what Marty does is he does upstrokes for this, so he does. So he plays upstroke and then also an upstroke here. So he hits this a G and an E with one upstroke. But I couldn't do that. I've seen tabs where that's shown as him doing, but that's also not something that Marty would actually do. Me, because my right hand isn't equipped to do that. I just do something like this. I cheat by hammering on this G note and then only playing an upstroke here, and then yeah, so you couldn't tell them apart really, I guess. Well, it's supposed to sound like this, but sometimes when I play it, it's gonna sound like. So there's this extra note, which is unintentional, but it's hardly noticed. So after that, you play. So it's A, F, D, and then A flat, and F, D. And then bend from here, and then there's a little part where he goes. Well, Marty plays this. While Dave plays starting from the an F note. But if you listen to them playing it live, it's barely done. It's barely done cleanly, if at all. So the next solo would be starting from here. And then you have to make sure that you do his own, you know, his weird bending style. You could also play. But it sounds like it's hanging more because it's Hangar 18, get it? When you're using your index finger to bend that part. And then the next solo is. And then here it's sort of a lot of whole notes or whole tones. And then diminished. I usually don't even do that right, that part. Yeah, I have a hard time, you know, playing those diminished notes, but that's how you're supposed to be playing it. And then, now this is where it gets really tricky. You have to do this thing from C sharp. And then this is how I play the octaves in this part, but you could also do it like this if you could somehow fit it, you know, somehow. But it feels more natural to play. Well, as natural as, you know, a crazy solo like this could be. So lots of weird bending, lots of, you know, it's just crazy solo, really. And then from there, this is how I play it, although I think he positions it somewhere here so he doesn't slide too much, but I like the way the slides that I make, so I keep the, you know, the two different positions far apart. But Marty, I think, you know, since he's playing it live all night, every night, at least back in the 90s, you know, he'd opt for, you know, two positions that are closer together in the fretboard. And, you know, it doesn't really matter to me if I happen to overslide or something. It's supposed to sound, you know, alien anyway. So I play, and then I slide upward here, and then so get that? You play in the B and E string. So let's start from here again. And then here you do a C minor arpeggio somehow. Although the way I do it is with more hammer-ons or pull-offs. I think I saw it in some tab before, and ever since I've been doing it on tour. Although in other tabs that I've seen, it's... Anyway, and then this another part where you sort of have to accustom yourself, because, you know, it's this one is really one of the weirdest phrasings that he's ever done. Sorry, doing it slow, it's kind of hard to remember. So you have to count in your head. These are four notes in you know, one section, and then the next section is 3 notes, and then another 4-note section. Sorry, you know, it's just so hard to figure out exactly what I'm doing slowly. So it's 4 notes, and then 3 notes, and then another 4 notes, and another 4 notes. So it stops, it's the 4-3 pattern stops around here, where you just play. And then this one's much easier. You just have to remember the shape of your fingers. So, you know, it's the same shape, and then you raise it a minor third up the fretboard. And then here, the last part, you sort of change it so that instead of you play. It's actually not that difficult, it's just hard to explain. I guess it's better if I just show you the actual positions. And then this D major arpeggio thing with additional notes. That's the hardest thing, fitting those notes. Weird, huh? And then you either slide up to this 17th fret of the E string or the 22nd fret of the B string. So that's what I do. I slide up and then for the longest time I was playing it, which also makes sense, but it just looks more logical too. And then another, you know, one finger sliding thing. And then this is the part where, you know, you kind of give yourself free rein. Knowing that you're playing in the D blues scale first, and then later in the D major scale. So we do it like this. Oh yeah, and you shift the finger. You can shift the finger anytime you want, because you're supposed to be you're gonna be sliding around with, you know, the middle finger. But at some point you're gonna have to make it so that the index finger is in this note C, in the 13th fret of the B string. This is where I make my change. And then some notes to take note of are playing this part, somewhere there, and later on that's how you're supposed to end it, with a pinch harmonic. It's better to end it with a pinch harmonic, although earlier I failed to hit it because I was so excited. So you notice here I'm playing the B blues scale, and then later shift to the D major scale. And then the next solo is basically a throwaway solo. It kind of sucks in my opinion, but these are the main notes to hit. So, you know, the F sharp, you bend it up to an A. And then, you know, do whatever you want to fill it, As long as you hit this high note, the C sharp, you bend it to a high E. And then you somehow get to here, the 15th and 10th fret of the E string, and then just, you know, do crap on it basically. As long as you end up with the E and C sharp of the high E string, or you could do it also here in the B string. You know, you're supposed to end with that. On the record, it sounds more like he's here on the E string. So it's... And then, this is possibly the hardest... No, it's not, but, you know, it's the one that I want to get right the most, possibly. It starts off with... You know, it sounds like a typical F sharp minor solo. And then he does his thing, you know. And then sort of reverse of that on the B string. So then slides up, plays this, and then get that. And then a typical bluesy thing, but it's difficult to get up to speed. This is how I play it. Although I think he, instead of this long stretch, he's just playing this F sharp here in the E string. Which I couldn't do. And so, if you notice, I don't cover Dave's solos because they're also crap. You know, just like Marty's third solo in the second part. Yeah, it's basically just, you know, going up and down with these crazy patterns.